Okay, this is a recording for homework 2. For this assignment, it's really simple. Okay, don't get really complicated with this. Please do not get crazy. My goal here is to see if you know how to create an HTML file. As a result, it's relatively straightforward. However, be aware that most of you will get very, very good grades if you just simply followed instructions. Okay, so this is why I go over this particular presentation. This is why I give this presentation. First of all, the homework is due on 7/29 at midnight. Again, that's a Monday morning. It's Monday at 11:59, excuse me. It's 11:59 at night on a Monday. Note, this is a very simple homework if you let it be simple. Okay, if you let it be simple, it's very simple. In this homework, you're going to create 3 files in a homework folder using your last name followed by your first name, followed by homework 2 to name it. After completing the assignment, zip up the project directory and turn it in. Note, there are 3 files: your index.html file, your addmovie.html file, and your CSS file. That's it. If you're following the patterns we use in class, you should not be using an external JavaScript file. Okay? So let's get at it. So the index page is a simple static web page. It does nothing, but contains a list of 30 movies. I do not need to see your code for generating the movies. Just turn in the HTML file. The title of the page and the heading of the page, each one, should be a list of movies. The movie should be in a table that shows each field in the movie in your list. The HTML table should have a header row which identifies which fields are which. A couple things I want to point out here. Simple static page implies just HTML. Don't give me JavaScript BS, just HTML. If you create a JavaScript thing, you can assume those 20 points aren't going to come your way. Okay, I'm serious. Create a page, add movie.html, which has a form with the following elements. The title of the page and the heading should be add new movie, right? The action should be add movie.html and the movie should be get. Note the form doesn't do anything but show the fields in the URL once you submit it. That's it. The form should have input text fields for MID, movie ID, name, and price. The form should have 2 select boxes to select from a list of genres and ratings available. And of course, the form should include submit button and reset. Obviously, the form should have labels. So make sure to include those as well. Simple form. Okay. Don't get complicated with the form. There's no need to. It's a simple form. Make the site into a website. All I really want you to do here is make sure the links to other pages exist, right? So the index page should link to the form. The form should link back to the index page. Done. Okay. For all pages, use an external style sheet to beautify the pages in some way. On the index page, alternate the colors using the rows to using CSS. I don't care what you do for the form, but you have to do something. I don't care what you do other than alternating rows using CSS. I don't care what you do other than that, but you better have CSS in both files, and they both better do something in both files. Add movie and the index.html. Note, no style sheet should be in the page. It should link to an external style sheet, just like we did in class. Okay. I don't want to see a lot of internal CSS stuff inside our web page. Okay, that should all be in the external CSS file. Okay, and now the bulk of the homework points. For the add game page, you were going to use JavaScript validation for the input fields, MID, name, and price in the same manner performed in class. JavaScript should be in the same web page as the form and be in the header as a method, just like we did in class. If I were you, I would start off based on what we do in class. I would not, do anything else. I'd first copy the JavaScript that we have from the class file, and then I would paste that in, and then I would modify it as necessary. Okay. None of the fields should be blank. MID, name, or price. The ranges for the number. Remember, MID should be a 4-digit number, so it's between 1,000 and 999. This price should be a number, but it should be greater than 0. I should actually not say 0 or greater. It should be greater than 0. We'll see how many people listen to it. I will, in fact, hold you to it, but see how many people listen to this recording. Don't let the form submit if any of the checked fields are invalid. Checked fields implies any of the fields are checking. So Remember, you got to validate MID, name, and price. None of those should be invalid. Use a single alert to show all the fields that are invalid once user clicks submit, and be sure to show the different types of messages. This is important. So what a lot of people get in trouble for, and they lose like 10 points almost immediately, is they put all the checks together. The check should be blank, it should be a number, it should be between the ranges, and they do, and just check to see if it's valid by using a series of ORs. But I don't want that. I want you to report if it's blank. I want you to report if it's not in the right range. I want you to report if it's not a number. Okay. And so you should do that. Just like we do in class. It shouldn't be hard for you to understand that we want you to do it just like we do in class. It's actually easier if you just do it my way. And I do want you to change the color of the label. So for instance, if you have the MID label, I want you to change the color of the label. I want you to turn it red, for example, and indicate in parentheses, just like we did in class, or some other way, just like what we did in class, to indicate what's wrong for the field after the user tries to click submit. Now, we want to give you enough detail for the user to correct the error. For instance, MID cannot be blank. And then the user corrects the error. Remember, when we do validation on the client side, it's primarily for correcting user when the user does something incorrect. We want to correct them and make it so that they can get back to a working situation. Okay. And so it's a different sort of focus for validation. Again, as always, if the project or zip file is not named correctly, 10 points off. If the files in the project are named incorrectly, 10 points off. Remember, index.html and addmovie.html are the only two things I named, but they better be named correctly. You shouldn't need comments, but if you use patterns not taught in class, I'll assume you copied it from somewhere and give you a 0. This is an individual assignment. What you should turn in, again, should be your own work. Be cautious if somebody gives you files or gives you artifacts or asks for artifacts. They very likely will just simply turn in your files. And if that's what happens, you will get a 0 and you will positively both get a 0, and neither one of you will be very happy. So make sure that you are doing your own work. But again, just so we're clear, you should have an addmovie.html file, an index.html file, and a CSS file. That's it. Do not use external JavaScript. It is not a good idea. We use the industry standard put into the JavaScript within the HTML file. Note, if you're going to argue with me and say JavaScript should be external because I want to use it in more places, it's kind of dumb. And you go, wait, what? When you validate a form, you validate a specific form. So it's rarely used in multiple places. What I'm asking for, if done correctly, would only be useful for this particular form. And as a result, it should be in the HTML file. All right, that is it. Make sure you turn it in at before midnight on 7/29/24. Again, getting these things turned around via the deadline is very important. But the caveat is that leaves very little flexibility in when the due dates are, given that I have to grade. Okay. All right, y'all have a great day. That's homework 2.